All right, hello everyone. I'm Bo Williams.
And I'm Greg Rocool. We are back with another edition of Soccer Talk. Bo's rejoined the crew after a little hiatus.
Couple weeks of hiatus, yeah. Good to be back though.
Absolutely, yeah. I had some fun, I should
Yeah.
say, in the interim. Had a great conversation with Jalen Chrysler a
Yeah.
couple weeks back. That was a lot of fun. I would encourage people to go check that out on the website. But yeah, we've got a lot of action has happened since between our last couple of shows together, and yeah, a lot to get into.
Yeah, we really do. And obviously the guys are coming off a good showing. You probably saw it right here on WATE. 4 goals. You know, we were talking heading into that game, Greg, that this is a team that's been struggling to find the back of the net, and all of a sudden they just exploded with 4, which is great to see.
Exactly. It really was, yeah, a bit of a shock to see. I mean, just the way it unfolded in that game, 3 first half goals, a really comprehensive showing in that opening, 30 and 45 minutes. And yeah, they came in on a good run of form, but yes, the goals had just not, flowed in the way that maybe they would have thought with this kind of retooled attack that they entered the second year as a professional team with. But yeah, we really saw, the full extent of the potential on full display on this one.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of what we saw maybe earlier in the season, but this was really, there's so many storylines, and we'll talk about one of the big ones after we take a look at the highlights, but so many storylines going into this game. But one was lack of goals, but great defensive play. That's what's really keeping One Knox high in the standings. But let's get to the goals. Let's take a look at the highlights in case you didn't get a chance to see it, or maybe you just want to relive the moment. Take a look here for a little bit. Greg, kind of walk us through here, but One Knox on the attack.
Exactly. They got it going early and often. We see Kempis Tequila bearing down on goal. That would become a theme on this one. He forces a good save from TJ Bush to force their first corner of the game. And on that, they get the short corner routine going. A nice little drop of the shoulder here to kind of fool that first defender. A nice left-footed strike from the outside of the box. And here we go. Off to the races after just 4 minutes.
Yeah, and this was something they tried a couple times in the first half. They almost hit on a second opportunity like this as well. Eventually, Chattanooga caught on to what was going on. It took them a while for it to register, and they put somebody else out there to cut off that short pass. But again, it almost pulled off. We almost got 2 goals.
Exactly.
In that scenario. Yeah.
Not even, I think it was around the 11th minute. So less than 10 minutes later, they get a same corner on the same side, do the same routine.
Same thing.
And I think
just missed there.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a scramble in front of the box that ended up getting cleared. But man, it was that close to being, 2 goals in the first 10 minutes.
And what was impressive in this one, keep in mind too, going into this game, the Chattanooga keeper tops in the league with 68 saves, but he had only had 1 clean sheet. They had given up a lot of goals at the same token, which kind of said that this team is susceptible, even though they've got a good keeper, susceptible to giving up a lot of goals if you hit it just right, and One Knox obviously took advantage of that.
Exactly. That has been definitely the Achilles heel for this Chattanooga side. They, anyone who really follows this league would tell you that they've got really one of the more dynamic attacks on that front end, a really fluid front three, Malongo, Ropapa Mensah, Siobhan Marsh. That's a really dynamic front three. But as far as, being able to secure that lead, it really couldn't be more, it's really the opposite for One Knox, whereas, they are able to set that high floor with a really organized and tough to break down defense. And that really has not been the case for this Chattanooga team. And really the perfect opponent for One Knox to come into this game on a nice run of form, a defense that they know that can be breached with the right pressure. And I would imagine it was a point of emphasis that putting them under pressure early could definitely
continue
establish
that pressure, keep them pinned, and that's exactly what One Knox did. You had one of the top defenses against one of the top offenses of the league, but again, you saw that pressure, and we had talked about it during the broadcast. That back line. They just wanted to hang out in midfield, if they could, and try to keep that pressure. The forwards, if the ball was turned over, immediately we're trying to win it back, keep the pressure on, and really, shut down Chattanooga. But also we had a good chance here to see a new face on this team, and he struck as well in that first half and actually ended up being man of the match. But again, it was great to see some new blood out there and really making that impact.
Exactly. I think I might have mentioned him on the show last week. Stavros Zarakostas, a new signing coming in mid-season, a Greek forward who's got some experience in the USL Championship. And we saw him strike early in this second half as well with a nice little combination from Tequila, nice little hold-off play, and just a great finish with the left foot from Zarakostas to get his first goal for One Knox.
Yeah, just great placement on this shot. And again, Tequila with the nice feed here. Kind of let the ball go through his leg. He knew what he was doing, He knew he was setting up that defender, that center back, and did a great job. And, again, found that far post. But this really, you could feel the air being taken out of Chattanooga at this point. This was early in the game. and One Knox striking like that, and it was great. We had Drew McKenna in the booth with us, and when Zaracosta scored that goal, I mean, he leaped. I mean, the excitement. First of all, the new guy, making an impact, and then obviously going up 2-0 that quick. I mean, it was good to see. You could just feel the energy. And I think they were also feeding off the crowd. There was a lot going on there, but again, Zaracosta ended up being the man of the match. So up early 2-0, and they weren't done.
Absolutely, yeah. Not even still in that same half, we see a. This is really where it went from bad to worse for Chattanooga. There was a corner kick for One Knox that. Let's see, Jamil Roberts for. Chattanooga. Looks like it struck his arm on the goal line. Denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. That's a straight red every time. Excuse me. And One Knox has an opportunity to go up 3-0 with just 20 minutes into this match. And how about this finish from Kempis Tequila?
Yeah.
I mean, this is some top quality to,
It was gutsy.
Exactly. The ability, the mental fortitude, one might say, to even attempt that is very daring. Yeah. And he really, executed it with aplomb.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic, and the crowd went crazy. 3-0. There's still a lot of talk about the call, but the ref was pointing. This is where he was hit. But again, 3-0 at that point, and really One Knox in control. Chattanooga struggling, but they do get one back and kind of make it an interesting game, because this thing could have been blown wide open, but they do get one back.
Exactly. Right before in stoppage time, we do get this cross into the box that drops to Pedro Hernandez. Then we get a deflection here from Jalen Chrysler. So they are able to go into that halftime only trailing 2 goals, but with the 10 men, just the way that first 30 minutes unfolded for Chattanooga was always going to be a true mountain to climb in the second half, and One Knox,
But that's one of those two where you got that 2-goal differential, and we did see, One Knox made some substitutions, tried to put a little bit more into their attack, and they were able to do that. They created a few more chances, but with that 2-goal differential, I mean, 1 goal either way, you're thinking, okay, if One Knox can get one, the game's over. If Chattanooga can pull within 1, then you got a whole new game, right?
Right.
And Chattanooga had some opportunities, but again, Knoxville's defense really stepping up, doing what they were supposed to do, and then obviously One Knox putting it away a little bit later on off of a PK.
Exactly. Let's check that one out here late in the game. Like you said, a couple of substitutions come on here. We see Kingsford Ajay with some nice moves into the box, finds Frank Ross, who dribbles wide here, gets hacked down, and that's always going to be a penalty. And, we see someone who you might not really peg as the penalty specialist, center back Danny Fernandez. But if you watched this game or the Jägermeister Cup game against Red Wolves a couple weeks back, where that one ended up going to a shootout as well, Danny Fernandez also took a penalty in that game, and it was probably the pick of the bunch. Just top corner, side netting. He really does seem to have really special ability to convert those penalties. And obviously with some of the starting attackers off, interim manager Ilya Illich tapped Danny Fernandez to take that one, and, he made no mistake once again. Yeah,
it definitely paid off. He knows what he's doing. You can tell he works on that. But at the same token, he was one of those guys throughout the course of that game. Sometimes it's great to see a guy who has just been a workhorse and say, get these opportunities, right? And Danny Fernandez definitely was one of those and took advantage of it. So 4 goals for One Knox, a great finish to a game that really going in, you didn't know what you were going to see. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the coaching change, but that was really first and foremost in a lot of people's minds going in is how is this team going to react? But obviously they set a good tone there with those 3 goals in the first half.
Exactly. Really, statement win on all fronts, really, from One Knoxville. The game coming just one day after the decision to part ways with head coach Mark McKeever. This is a coach who had been, a day one member of this franchise since they were playing in USL League 2 back in 2022. Really found some great success in that inaugural season in League 2, division title, and got all the way to the Southern Conference Final or the national quarterfinals, depending on your view of it. But really set the tone and got a lot of people interested in this club from the outset, which was, I think, so critical for the development and the, identity of this club in the community. So he's always going to be, I think, a important figure in the history of One Knoxville, but they made the decision on Thursday, and a really great response from these players to, put the emotions aside one day later and go out and take care of business in, impressive fashion.
Yeah, they really did. And of course, then the reins are handed over to the interim head coach, now a former player, has worn the One Knox jersey out on the field, Casey K, catching up with the interim coach immediately after the game.
Coach, this is your first game as a head coach leading a team. There's got to be some emotions that are associated with this win. Talk to me about them.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the boys. I think probably one of the hardest moments in one of the guys' careers, and they stepped up today. It was amazing to see him scoring goals, having fun in such a hard moment. So I'm so happy for them. I'm so proud of them.
Coming into this game, you talked to me how some of your words of wisdom for this team were to set aside the emotions, focus on the game, focus on the moment. How proud are you of them for being able to do that?
I can't explain how proud I am. I can't explain because I had to push my emotions. I saw the guys pushing their emotions aside. We know it's a cruel game, right? Things happen, but I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of their effort, their quality today. It was just the next level.
We heard Ilya Illich there talk a little bit about putting the emotions aside, taking care of business, and they were obviously able to achieve that in a really impressive fashion. Got to be an emotional night for Ilya Illich as well. As Mo said, this is a player that joined last year as he was a player coach, kind of starting to make his foray into the coaching profession. And joined the staff as a full-time assistant this year under Coach McKeever, and really credit for everyone to really stay focused on the task at hand, and they, were able to do that.
And I think his experience too, coming, he's no stranger to USL.
Right.
He played, I think it was Louisville City, I think is where
That's right.
He spent a lot of time. Obviously had a great career there, but has played in USL, understands how the game is played here. Obviously as an assistant coach, probably spent a lot of time looking at the tape of the other teams, kind of
Right.
drawing things up. So he has a good grip on what's going on. But now his job is going to be is to carry this team now through the end of the season and into the postseason. Right now, we're One Knox still looking pretty good as far as getting into the playoffs, and Coach Illich now will have to kind of guide them. It'll be interesting to see exactly what he does, what kind of changes he makes, if he makes any. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see. Right now, One Knox looking pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of times you might see a coaching change when a team might be struggling for form, or they're trying to make a push into the playoff positions before the season is over. One Knox is already in those playoff positions.
Yeah.
A nice run of form here, 7 matches unbeaten. You might be thinking, well, there was some shootout losses in the cup, but those do go down as draws,
right,
since both teams do get a point in the standings. So yeah, One Knox has not lost since June 22nd when they went on the road, I think, to Greenville Triumph. So, this team is sitting nice, pretty in 5th place, just 2 points out of first place, Charlotte Independence, with, I think, about 10 games to go left in the season. So, yeah, really all to play for this team, not just for those playoff spots, but potentially hosting a home playoff match.
And it's a great observation there, sitting 5th. But, again, if you look at the points, it's just 2 points, like you said, out of the top spot. What's interesting when you look at that, though, and this was probably a bigger game last week for Chattanooga. Obviously, One Knox just wanting to solidify that playoff spot. Chattanooga was sitting 8th. Now they're below the playoff line. They have dropped down to 9th now. That game really took a toll on them. That is for sure.
Exactly. Now that we've entered the back half of this season, this top 5 has kind of distinguished themselves as kind of a cut above this next kind of, or the 7 or so teams at the bottom here. Knoxville, Omaha, Madison, Greenville, and Charlotte, all separated by less than 2 points. So really, it's hard to say how this is all going to shake out as far as playoff positioning goes. But yes, really critical, a bit of a blow to Chattanooga's season. They did start to get some momentum going in the cup a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see, yes, how the fight for those 7th and 8th spots in the playoffs shakes out. You got a Lexington team that's also moving into their new stadium before they join the USL Championship next year. I'm sure they would love to get some playoff matches in that brand new venue as well. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting, storylines going into this kind of.
And we could see them again, depending on how this finishes up. Like I said, as you mentioned, they were only 2 points out of first. I mean, we could very well see a Chattanooga or a Lexington in the first round, depending on how this plays out. Still plenty of time. I mean, like I said, 9-10 games left on the schedule for the regular season. plenty of time for some movement in the standings. But this is kind of that crunch time. The legs are getting tired. You're a little banged up, but this is when all the teams now got to kind of reach down deep. And you see some teams making some changes. Like you said, we brought in Zaracostas coming in to kind of beef up our attack. So let's see how this plays out down the stretch. But so far, I'm liking what One Knox. If they can build upon this 4-1 win, they're going to be in great shape.
Exactly. And yeah, if they can continue that run of form on offense, if Zaracostas is able to be that outlet, one thing that was really distinctive for him in this game was, man, I don't think they've ever had a faster player in the attack. This guy can really fly, can really stretch the defense in a way that not a lot of the other options in attack for One Knoxville have. So yeah, they add another dimension to this attack, and if they can continue, that goal scoring form, this could be a really formidable opposition.
And let's just point out one other stat. 2 games on WATE. One Knox has outscored their opponent 6-1.
Exactly. Six points on Channel 6.
Yeah, there you go. 6 points on Channel 6. So, yeah, good stuff. But, 2-0 in the first game, 4-1 in this one. So we're excited. But,
exactly. We also got some big news today from the club. This is something we've kind of talked about for the last year or so, but official today, One Knoxville announced that they had reached an agreement with Boyd Sports to play the 2025 season and those future matches at the new multi-use stadium coming to East Knoxville, just on the edge of Old City there. It's been under construction for about a year or so, and they are targeting this completion in the spring.
2025 season, yeah.
And it's going to be a really exciting development for this club to see how, it becomes really ingrained in the fabric of the community when you're right downtown, right in the heart of, of culture and activity and nightlife.
And that's the key. I love Regal. I mean, it is a soccer stadium, right? A beautiful facility, a great pitch as well. But where this stadium is located now, you can go down, you can have dinner, you can have a drink, what have you. You can rally, meet your friends down there, and then march over to the stadium, what have you. I think this is going to be great for the fans' experience, and I think that will hopefully translate onto the field as well as they get ready for the season. They're already now. You can now go online. You can at least get your name in the hat to claim not maybe your specific seat, but you can at least make your deposits as well. I know they're trying to get as many of those now, and so that is up and running as well. So, it's going to be fantastic. And we talked to One Knox about this game and Drew McKenna. And you can probably tell when you saw that picture there, this stadium, one thing he pointed out, we've seen soccer played in baseball stadiums, right? I mean, think of New York City FC playing for in Yankee Stadium. He said, but this stadium was actually constructed, designed with the thought that there's going to be more than baseball played there, right? And you can tell when you look, especially the top part of that screen, kind of how that infield wall is built and how the soccer field kind of fits perfectly right in there. This was built to host soccer, and maybe a football there as well at some point. But it was built with more than just baseball. Plus, you've got the mound that will now be movable, right? Which is going to help as well as far as transitioning between soccer and baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see just the way that it fits so snugly just along that first base line. With the majority of those seats being on that first base line, I think that's going to be good with the sun setting. They're going to get that shade first to really make for a nice evening viewing experience for all the fans there. So it's going to be really an awesome feather in the cap for this club, just to be right downtown, right? Like you said, in the heart of so many options for nightlife, for before and after.
And more will be growing around that. I mean, this is just the beginning for what's going to be coming into that area. And so I think it's going to continue to build. But we'd asked Drew about, the sight lines, and he said, and that's when he brought up the fact that this was built with more than just baseball in mind. So the sight lines are going to be good. It's going to be fun to watch. I think it's going to just add something a little extra. Again, not taking anything away from Regal. Love Regal.
Absolutely.
The pitch, the grounds crew there are amazing, especially after the monsoon we had before the last game.
That was intense.
And then the puddles went away in a blink of an eye. I mean, it was fantastic. But I think this will be just add something a little extra, I think, that maybe they're looking for, at least from the fan standpoint.
Right, totally agree. A great community, atmosphere at Regal, a great place to bring families with young children, and lots of space for kids to run around. But this is really going to take it to another level from, a game day atmosphere standpoint. And we did get a couple of interesting little tidbits from this announcement as well. They some of the signage that the team posted today, they said that there's going to be 18 games at at the new stadium next year. For the 2024 season, in the current format, they played 16 home games this year. They're going to play 16 home games in all. In 2024. So it looks like we'll see a little bit of tweak to the schedule for League One as we see some expansion teams grow. I think we're probably going to be looking at around 18 teams. Right. We still got a couple months to go, and it's going to be interesting to see if we get any more expansion announcements. But
well, you got expansion, but also the Jägermeister Cup will be expanding too, right? We're going to be including the USL Championship in that too. So
exactly,
all kinds of doors. You never know who we're going to see.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of modern, sports leagues, not just soccer, have kind of figured out that it's really good to be kind of in the news cycle all the time. So we've kind of had, we got the announcement for USL with Lexington joining USL Championship this year, or next year, excuse me. I know the president of League One said on a recent media call that they're probably looking at an expansion announcement in October. Probably, we've heard, it's kind of been an open secret that Corpus Christi is looking at joining League One sooner rather than later. So I would imagine we're going to get some news, sporadically over the next couple weeks as we enter the final, regular season matches and go into the playoffs.
I know we're getting ready to wrap up here, but you see teams moving around and they want to join here, or they want to go to the championship, and I get how it works here, right? It comes down to dollars and cents and what you're going to, at some point, USL, I'm not talking about Major League Soccer at all, but USL, you think we will see pro reg within USL? It's been tossed around, at some point, or is it always going to be, well, we want to go championship, so here you go, we're championship,
right.
We're moving up, or do you think USL will say, okay, hang on a second, let's start having some movement here between championship and USL 1, at least between the two professional divisions?
Yeah. USL definitely kind of, set this conversation ablaze, I think, last year when they said that this was under discussion at some of their owners' meetings. And, given now that they've kind of been able to really grow the infrastructure, not just in terms of stadiums, but in terms of, a really robust third division, the USL Championship, the second division, has really solidified itself as a really strong league since
it's all over TV now.
Exactly.
You see it on network television, you see it on cable television now, USL, and it just speaks volumes, like you said, the stadiums between USL 1 and Championship. All those teams starting to invest some money, some dollars to make sure they got that infrastructure.
Exactly. I think the fact that they're even having the discussions, even if it hasn't happened yet, kind of shows that the owners and the league front office kind of recognize the differentiation possibility of having promotion relegation in, which has never been done really, or at the professional level in America.
And maybe that's what the combination of the Jägermeister Cup next year, maybe that's a testing ground.
Right, yes.
In some weird way, to see how these two divisions compete against one another and the facilities they're playing in and things like that, to kind of get a taste, maybe is this something we can actually do. I don't know.
Exactly. It seems to be, the steps are being taken, the progress is kind of trending at least to leave the option open for the league as we continue to build out that second division, or that third division, excuse me, League One. There's no shortage of suitors for potential expansion teams beyond the ones that we've discussed on this show. So I think as we've said many times about how 2026 World Cup is kind of the destination. So as they continue on their current progress, after that World Cup, I think that we'll start to really seriously consider that possibility.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Hey, let us know what you think. We'd love to get your feedback as well. But again, we do this every week. We still got a lot of games to go, so we're not done. But as always, we enjoy getting together, talking a little soccer, specifically One Knox. And again, keep it tuned right here as we'll let you know as we progress, get closer to the playoffs, and anything else you need to know about soccer in the community, we'll have it here for you.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.